There are many Sith empires that have risen and fallen in the Star Wars universe, but all of them were built without exception in imitation of the first one, the one ruled from Ziost by the original Sith species. At the start of 5000 BBY, this Sith empire was at the height of its golden age, ruled by Dark Lord Marka Ragnos. By the end of the year, however, the Sith Empire no longer existed. Its leaders had been killed or exiled, its armies were destroyed, and the entire Sith species had been nearly completely exterminated. In this video, we'll be exploring how the Sith Empire of Legend went from golden age to non-existence in less than a year, all because of a pair of Republic hyperspace scouts. The old Sith Empire was ruled by the original Dark Lords of the Sith, who conquered the Sith species in 6900 BBY, establishing the original Sith homeworld of Korriban as a tomb world and the frozen adopted Sith homeworld of Ziost as their capital. The Dark Lords, who are mostly human or near-human, interbred with the Sith, who were already naturally Force sensitive, creating a new upper caste of Sith society. These Sith Lords then built an interstellar empire for themselves, gorging themselves on the spoils of these conquests while their subjects lived in fear. By 5000 BBY, the Sith Empire had reached its apex. In a little under 2000 years, the Sith Empire had grown to include 120 settled worlds, clustered in a small pocket of space bordered by the Stygian Caldera, a ring of interstellar gases that, for a while, kept Sith space cut off from the rest of the galaxy, and vice versa. The Sith Lords enjoyed complete control over the Empire's many worlds, which they exploited for their own use. While the Sith are never truly at peace, it was the closest to peace that they had ever really come, and they would never come that close again. This golden age was in large part the result of the rule of Marka Ragnos. After the death of the previous Dark Lord, Ragnos defeated his rival Sith Lord Simus in combat and claimed the mantle for himself. He ruled the Sith Empire for a full century, ensuring stability by pitting ambitious rivals against each other, or even by having them assassinated before they could challenge him. Ragnos' golden age came to an end, however, when he died in 5000 BBY. Before Marka Ragnos had ever been laid in his tomb in the Valley of the Dark Lords on Korriban, infighting over succession had already begun. There were two powerful Sith Lords that aspired to lay claim to the title, with radically different views. On one hand, there was the tradition-minded conservative Ludo Kresh, who believed that the Sith Empire should be kept the same so as to preserve the Golden Age. On the other hand, however, was Naga Sadow, a much more ambitious Sith Lord who sought to expand the Empire beyond Sith space, and believed that Kresh would lead the Sith into stagnation and decay. Kresh had been put in charge of Marka Ragnos' funeral, and he deliberately started it without Sadow. When Sadow showed up late shortly after the sarcophagus had been sealed in the tomb, Kresh ordered him to leave, prompting Sadow to claim the title vacated by Ragnos' death. Kresh challenged the claim, and they drew force-imbued swords and fought to the death on the steps of the tomb. But the duel between Sadow and Kresh was interrupted by an unexpected new arrival. The ghost of Marka Ragnos appeared and ordered them to stop fighting. Ragnos recounted the history of the Sith Empire to them and warned them to choose their actions wisely, as they would change the history of the Sith Empire forever. Ragnos' spirit then vanished, leaving Sadow and Kresh to contemplate his words. Their contemplation was soon interrupted, however, by another new arrival. An unknown ship, something that had not been seen in Sith space for centuries, descended on Korriban. The ship was the Starbreaker 12, which was owned by a pair of twin hyperspace scouts, Gav and Jory Daragon. The Daragons were natives of Koros Major, the capital of a system ruled by Empress Tida, and through sheer luck had managed to blindly jump from the Koros system all the way to Korriban, forging the Daragon Trail. The Daragons disembarked from the Starbreaker 12, hoping to set up a trade agreement of some sort. Instead, they were immediately taken prisoner by the Sith, who set aside debates over leadership in favor of discussing their new captives. The Daragons had stated that they were from the Galactic Republic upon being captured and sent to Ziost, a name that the Sith Lords remembered only vaguely as the civilization that drove their ancestors into exile. Ludo Kresh believed that the Daragons were spies and argued for their immediate execution. Naga Sadow, however, saw an opportunity in the Daragons, and counseled instead that the Sith should use them to invade and conquer the Republic. Ultimately, however, the Council of Sith Lords sided with Kresh, and so Sadow took more drastic measures. One of Sadow's soldiers snuck aboard the Starbreaker 12, where he found and stole a pair of blasters. Moving quickly, Sadow and a small group of Sith raided the Ziost Citadel, making sure to only kill with the stolen blasters. They freed the Daragons, whom Sadow had taken to his personal fortress on Kar Shian, and then killed Simus, Sadow's old teacher. The blasters were left at the scene of the latter crime, and Sadao covered up all trace of his involvement before leaving the Sith Lords to discover the scene and take the bait. When Sadao returned, the Sith Lords were in a panic, and the attack was quickly blamed on the Republic. Sadao convinced the Council that the Sith needed to retaliate and claim the title of Dark Lord of the Sith once more. This time, a majority of the Council backed him, prompting Kresh to walk out and protest. Sadao responded by calling on his allies to gather their armies in preparation for war. Knowing that Kresh planned to attack him, Sadao launched a scheme of his own. He split the Daragons up, keeping Gav on Kar Shian and moving Jory to Kar Delba. As he began to train the Force-sensitive Gav as a Sith apprentice, he sent Jory back to the Republic in Starbreaker 12, which he had placed the tracker on. With the route into the heart of the Republic within his grasp, Naga Sadao only had to eliminate his rivals before his conquest could begin. Sadao lured Kresh and his allies into attacking Kar Delba and then called in his own, much larger fleet from the dark side of Kar Shian, taking Kresh by surprise. Sadao then activated sleeper agents that he had planted in the armies of his rival, and they killed the Sith Lords that had allied with Kresh, joining their fleets with Sadao's. Between the enemy warships and kamikaze starfighter attacks, Ludo Kresh was forced to flee. Sadao's brilliant victory at Kar Delba resulted in him becoming the undisputed ruler of the Sith Empire. As Sadao rallied his armies, Kresh tried again, sending his flagship to attack Sadao and the Council. But Sadao tricked Gav Daragon into destroying the warship, seemingly eliminating Kresh for good. Sadao then wasted no time in beginning the invasion of the Republic. Tracking the Starbreaker 12, Sadao swept right into the heart of the Republic, attacking the Korra system and Coruscant simultaneously with massive fleets. The Sith warships rained massive drop pods onto their targets, each of which contained hordes of Sith warriors and war beasts. Coruscant was thrown into turmoil as the Jedi frantically attempted to stem the Sith advance. Back on Corus Major, the Sith fleet was being led by Gav Daragon himself, who opted to descend on the capital of Sinagar and disable the planet's defenses in hopes of a near bloodless victory. Instead, he ended up leading Massassi warriors to his old employer, who they slaughtered. Jory Daragon, having been given a lightsaber by Jedi Knight Odan found him shortly after, and as Empress Tita's worlds prepared to defend against the full force of the Sith armies, the Daragons reunited over the bloody corpse of Arba the Hutt. Upon being confronted by his sister, Gav realized that he had gone too far, and saw that Sadao had been manipulating him. He led Jory to Primus Golod, a gas giant of little significance, the spot that Naga Sadao had chosen to set up his Sith meditation ship. Secretly, Sadao had been using Sith sorcery from a safe distance to make his armies appear much larger than they actually were, in an attempt to distract the defenders of the Republic and crush their morale. When Gav Daragon fired on Sadao's meditation sphere, breaking the Dark Lord's concentration. With the Sith forces in disarray from the disappearance of their illusory reinforcements, the Jedi led a counterattack, driving the Sith off of Coruscant in short order. Through the sacrifice of a Jedi Master, and with the help of reinforcements from Empress Tita's prison colonies, the Sith were driven from the Korra system as well. Naga Sadao had escaped death aboard his meditation sphere by tricking Gav Daragon to come aboard, but he had other problems inbound. A fleet of Republic warships, led by the Empress, had pursued him to Primus Golod, where they attacked the warships the Sith had left. In an act of desperation, Sadao used the primary weapon of his flagship to excite Primus Golod itself, causing the star to become unstable. The Sith used the impending supernova as a cover to flee back to the Sith Empire, but they never expected Tita's response to the new development. Gav Daragon, who was unable to escape the supernova aboard the disabled meditation ship, gave the Republic fleet the route back to Sith space, and instead of retreating, Empress Tita ordered her ships to follow Sadao's. As Gav Daragon perished in the supernova of Primus Golod, his sister and a massive Republic fleet entered hyperspace, bound for Korriban. The tattered remains of the Sith war fleet regrouped in Sith space, where Sadao intended to rally for a counterattack. However, upon emerging from hyperspace, he found that his own empire had turned against him. Sadao had taken the entire military force of the Sith Empire to join him in the Great Hyperspace War, and unknowingly left it open for Ludo Kresh to seize control. Kresh had faked his death shortly before the outbreak of war, and had gathered a secret fleet while Sadao attacked the Republic. In Sadao's absence, Kresh claimed the title of the Dark Lord of the Sith. Sadao and Kresh attacked each other, with their fleets fighting in a massive battle above Korriban for control of the Sith Empire. During the battle, Sadao commanded one of his warships, which had taken heavy damage, to ram the flagship of his enemy, a maneuver that was executed successfully. Ludo Kresh was killed at last, but Naga Sadao had other problems. Empress Tita, with the full Republic fleet, arrived above Korriban and opened fire on what remained of the Sith fleet. The Sith didn't stand a chance, and the battle quickly turned in the Republic's favor. In desperation, Sadao ordered his Massassi on other ships to seize control and sacrifice themselves to keep the Republic at bay, while he made his escape. Using the primary weapon on his flagship, Sadao used a nearby pair of stars to destroy the ships Tita sent to pursue him. The Republic, foolishly, believed that Sadao had died with them. In Sadao's absence, Sith Lord Shah Dakan became acting Dark Lord, but there was little that he could do. Nearly the entire military force of the Sith Empire was destroyed in the Great Hyperspace War, and even with Sadao defeated, the Republic still viewed the Sith as a threat. Supreme Chancellor Pultimo ordered the complete destruction of the Empire, and so war fleets poured into Sith space. While the Khan ordered kamikaze attacks that stemmed the tide for a short while, the Republic eventually proved unstoppable. The Republic utterly defeated the Sith Empire, but Pultimo wasn't satisfied. He ordered that the Empire be purged from the galaxy, and so the Republic carried out an effective genocide of the Sith species, completely destroying every last trace on the Empire worlds like Korriban and Ziost. Small scattered groups survived, small bands retreated to worlds like Thul, Tund, and Vyun, while the bulk of the survivors settled on Dramund Khas, where Darth Vaitate secretly founded a new Sith Empire, which he kept secret for the next 1,000 years. Naga Sadao, meanwhile, settled on Yavin 4, a remote jungle moon. There, he ordered his Massassi warriors to begin building temples, while he schemed to ensure the endurance of the Sith. Despite the survival of these groups, however, the damage was done. The Sith Empire ceased to exist. Korriban, Ziost, and all the symbol of the Empire's glory had fallen to the Republic, which purged them of Sith. In less than a single year, the Sith Empire had gone from a golden age to complete and utter annihilation, all thanks to the competing ambitions of Naga Sadao and Ludo Kresh. So that's the story of the fall of the Sith Empire, but what do you think? Did you like this video? And shall we explore more of this time period in the future? Lastly, if you were a Sith at the end of the Golden Age, would you side with Naga Sadao or Ludo Kresh? Post your thoughts in the comments section below. And just before you go guys, it would be really appreciated if you checked out the Patreon. We have a lot of cheap tiers that just help in supporting the channel, as I'm pretty much doing this full time now. The Patreon does offer several cool rewards, one of which includes secret access to a behind the scenes Discord where all the magic happens, so you can interact with all the people that help make these videos possible. Also, we have a Geetsly's gaming network, Clone Wars RP, Imperial RP, and Halo RP with new custom maps coming out very soon. So make sure you join that to interact with the community and myself in a gaming setting. We also do have the Roblox, which is more so a fun casual RP where you can roam around our Coruscant map and choose from a variety of clone morphs and just chill out and shoot some clankers. Anyways guys, thank you for watching and I hope to see you in the next video.